Well, I've been looking at the news for a while now with everybody else, and the main question continues to be what to do with the debt ceiling. Everybody makes this question extremely complicated, but as any financial system, it's all about numbers. The numbers can be extremely complicated or extremely simple. Financial system can be operated in algebra and even calculus, or financial system could be operating in arithmetics. It's like looking at the pyramid. If you're looking at the base of pyramid, there are so many stones, it boggles the mind. But when you're looking at the top of the pyramid, it's just one stone. Now you're talking much simpler, right? Well, obviously, over $14 trillion is not something that United States has borrowed from other countries. Even if we calculate how much other countries hold in United States obligations, including the debt and obligations, including the dollar debt, including the trade deficit, like what China holds, like 2 to 3 trillion, Japan about 1 trillion, and everybody else in the world probably altogether summed up less than 1 trillion probably. So where did this 14 trillion come from? Well, United States collects about $2 trillion. That's what everybody keeps saying on television and on the internet, everywhere. About $2 trillion a year in taxes. And we spend a little bit more than that, of course, because that's been the trend for the last many years, probably 2 decades or something, maybe more. But those are day-to-day expenditures, right? Like the war, military budget, sometimes we don't have the wars. Health expenditure, like Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, the normal expenditures, right? And of course, it's like living on a paycheck. You get a paycheck, and then with 1 week to go to the next paycheck, you spend your money and you'd start using credit card. And of course, the next month you have to pay your credit card at least a little bit, so that takes a little chunk out of your paycheck. So now you have to spend a little bit less than previous month, but you can't, because there is always something you need to buy, something new, something cool, or whatever. So you keep on spending, and you spend more on credit cards, and it's slowly growing like a little wave. But there is not enough money in the world, not physical money. I mean physical United States dollars, and I heard it from somebody who works in Treasury on the radio show. That person said that physical United States bills, they don't have enough, and they don't have exact number actually, but approximately they say it's just under 1 billion of physical United States dollars that exist in the world, and about 1/3 of it is outside United States, spread out around the world. Plus, add to this $1 trillion of physical printed money, whatever other digital money exists in the world, in bonds and values and whatever trades. It's not enough to create $14 trillion. So all this money, $14 trillion, minus actual debt and actual physical bonds and all other holdings by other countries, probably amount to 10 trillion. So where did it come from? Obviously it came from bad bank toxic assets that the United States government took back in 2008 and continued to take in 2009, in 2010, and now in 2011 they obviously continue to take them. And as a evidence of that, as soon as they took it originally, they had to raise the debt ceiling because it hit it. And then as they continued to take more and more, next year they had to raise it again with a lot of hoopla. And then they had to raise it back in May 2011, and they didn't, and it was kind of quiet. Oh yeah, we have hit them, but we have. And we use Social Security to cover some, accounting tricks. Social Security has been on the United States Congress for decades. I mean, back in winter, people get 2% cut on their paychecks. And where did this come from? From Social Security. Anyway, the thing is this. There is not enough money in the world to create, so nobody actually gave us 14 trillion which we spent. Now 10 trillion of it probably is just dead toxic assets from the banks that we took. And this is the question. If we are going to agree to take on this austerity measures, speaking the European language, that they're right now trying to negotiate in the Congress, between Congress and the White House. And obviously there is a big negotiations going on, and the president has already agreed to so much, to terms, they're gonna cut everything, all the entitlement, everything, hugely. They say like something like, I don't know, trillions in the next 3 trillions in the next 10 years. Well, if we going to cut all this money from the expenditures, although just a few weeks before this whole hoopla about austerity measures and social programs and expenditures, everybody agreed to another record military bill spending, what, 650 billion, and that's just official that they spend because since Bush there has been all this unofficial expenditures that they come up with throughout the year, and adding 50 billion here, 60 billion there. Anyway, so nobody have a fuss about that, neither party. It was done like bam, president bam, everybody bam, it was fine, no problem there. Anyway, but if we're going to cut 3 trillion or whatever from the budget, the question is, why do we need to raise debt limit? Why? If we're cutting expenditures, why are we raising the debt limit? Well, it's called the debt limit because it's debt. And if we need to raise it at the same time when it's cut spending, it simply means we need to take on more debt. So if we're cutting spending, what debt are we going to take on? More toxic banks. They're crap. And who is selling this to us? Nobody forced him to say that. Obama of 2008 election year would never say it. But Obama right now said it. I'm going to not send paychecks to the seniors on August 3rd. Nobody's, he would not say that before. Now he said it. Why? Because he works for the same people. And this whole hoopla about cutting spending obviously has nothing to do with raising the debt ceiling. They will raise it anyway because both sides get paid by the, big banks, Wall Street financial institutions. And their payback is that they need to take on more assets. And those guys never change their practices. They continue business as they've been doing it, dumping more and more of this stuff on the government books. And they just need to dump some more. And it has nothing to do with expenditures.